it's not as much as what a person knows, but what the person's emotion, but about the person's emotional intelligence, right? That's what's going to win you the game, especially in the workplace. I am intelligent, but I know my intelligence stands in my way. You know, you used to stand in my way. I'm overcoming that. I'm more mature today. But yes, past, it used to stand in my way because I can easily tell a fool. I can tell when you're bullshitting, right? And I'm going to tell you to your face one way or the other. You know, I can decipher that. You know, I probably handle it better today than I used to. It used to be that he handles me, not me handling it. I handle it better right now, but because I can decipher when you're bullshitting, and today on one of my platforms that came up, we're talking about something, and the other person was just saying bullshit. We were saying things that don't make sense, things that I would not expect a secondary school person to be saying, you know and I could be blunt, I guess a lot of people understand me. It's not that I hate you, but might as well tell ourselves the truth, but I guess I have to be careful where I do that. Not everybody can handle that. But in some of these platforms, they know me. They know they've seen me in different so it's easier to talk to people in those realms because we equate on a lot of things. I'm not looking down on anybody, but being intelligent could stand in your way, but you have to manage that. You have to manage that. You don't become too critical of people. You don't allow your emotions give you the feeling that you own the field. One of that stood in my way as I worked for my company. I got back and I was doing things as if it was my company. Nah, it's not my company. I'm only an employee. I must never forget that. Even though what I'm saying might be correct, might be true, but I can't push it down people's throats because I don't own the company, right? When my company, my farm that I run, what I want will hold sway if I choose to, right? But where I'm an employee, I'm not. I'm not the highest PSG. I have people that are my bosses. So I can't push it through. So I need to always remind myself, you're just an employee. You're going to give the suggestions, but they don't have to take it and have to handle. They're not taking it. Uh, I have to handle it well. I have to handle it well. I must never forget, and that has to affect my attitude also. That even though what I'm saying is intelligible, is the right thing, they don't have to take it. And it's got to be okay with me that they don't take it, right? I need to manage not just my emotion, I need to manage their emotions also. Because when you work in a corporate setting, it's not as much as whether you're right or wrong. What's important is that you are able to work together as a team. As a team, the company will do without one person. It might be the best if that person disrupts the team, right? They're working together of the organization, right? So you need to manage yourself so that you don't become someone that cannot be accommodated in the company for as long as you need the job. You need to define for yourself what is important, what is not important. What are the things your non-negotiables? Because even though you're an employee, there are some things that you're non-negotiable about. You need to know them. It can't be everything. You have to choose your battles. Because if you're fighting on everything, then people can't respect your non-negotiable. But if you pick your battles, then people know that these are your non-negotiables. On these other grounds, we can work, right? That's important, right? You learn about maturity, but learn from those of us that have been burnt, so you don't have to be as burnt as we are. You can move faster in life, So, we talked about level 5 leader. We started looking at some of the attributes of a level 5 leader last week, and we said that a level 5 leader is a person who has a combination of humility. You see, all the things I said earlier on boils down to humility. If you want to be a level 5 leader, humility is important. Humility, don't let your ego go before you. Humility has a strong will, and I do have a strong will, but you need to understand how to use it, because not only do I have a strong will, I used to be, and I could be opinionated, right? You have to manage that if you are working for an organization, and you are not the chief executive, right? The buck does not stop on your table. So you cannot afford to be too opinionated. You give your opinion, you give your suggestion. If they take it, fine. If they don't take it, you have to be okay with people not taking your opinion because you don't have the last say, right? A level five leader is motivated by the success of the organization. It's focused towards the success of the organization. It's not around to bullshit. It's not around to do things to be distracted. It's focused about moving forward, right? So level five leaders are also self-effacing, they are quiet, they are reserved, you know, often, not always. They could have these attributes of being quiet, being reserved, and also have a high level of discipline and resolve. That is not compromisable, right? To be a level five leader, you will have a high level of discipline and resolve, right? You don't dilly-dally.